We find ourselves here watching a man, Brian Seech, a mild-mannered office worker by day, paranormal investigator by night. What started off as a normal day in Pennsylvania, this man would soon find out that he has crossed into the weird zone.
Welcome to the Three Beards podcast. My name is Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is quite then live to send the innocent to their death? Is this justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
All right, everybody. At this time, we would like to welcome Brian Seech to the program. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you guys tonight?
Wonderful. Good.
Thanks for having me watching tonight. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And for everybody watching live, we had a little camera difficulty, so he's going to be this incognito behind the screen. So, but he's there. Unlike he is, the wizard is here. So, but man, I've been looking forward to this episode for a while, sir. So, once, like I said, thanks for coming on with us.
Sure. It's going to be interesting.
So a little bit about Brian. He is an avid paranormal researcher, goes to a lot of conferences, everything from Mothman Festival to, obviously, we're going to be talking about the Flatwoods Monster tonight. UFO, you work hand in hand with Fred Saluga, if I'm not correct.
Oh yeah. Me and Fred are good buds. We've known each other for probably about 15 years. Nice.
And then you guys, he's involved with MUFON, isn't he, in West Virginia?
Yeah, West Virginia and PA, yes.
Yes, and then there's a couple of Facebook sites, and I'll let you do it so I don't butcher the name on those. You have two groups that people can find more information about the work that you guys do.
Yeah, sure. They're both on Facebook, and one is Center for Cryptozoological Studies, and the other is Center for Unexplained Events. And we'll post some of our work on there and some of our cases or upcoming events on those two sites.
That's going to be pretty cool. I mean, are you going to be at the Mothman Festival that's coming up in September, I believe?
It's in September. No, I won't be able to make it this year. I made it. I spoke there 2 years ago. They didn't have one last year, but I've been down there probably about 6 or 7 times. Spoke down there twice, so it's really fun. If you guys have never been there, I don't know. You should try to make it one year.
Oh, I'd love to. Between talking with our friends Joey and Tanya Medea, the stuff that they've had in Point Pleasant, it's just one of the next time I'm up that way, I definitely want to go see West Virginia and tour around, because there's, like I named this, the Ohio River Valley seems to be having, there's quite a lot of activity in that area.
Oh, definitely. I agree with you. It's Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia, all three. And we live in Pennsylvania. So
I asked, a couple of the people that we've had on with the cryptids, what is the one that you guys are most known for there in Pennsylvania?
Oh, that would be Bigfoot. There's more sightings of Bigfoot in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
And that's because I know some, they'll have like, the Loveland Frogman, and you'll have the Oklahoma Octopus. You'll have stuff, you'll have these more extreme ones. So it's, and then, yeah, I know, because that like the one that we'll be talking about, the Flatwoods monster, you have these where just some of these cryptids, people that don't know about them, I mean, they're just, like this is a West Virginia one, the Flatwoods.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're talking, so I was trying to remember I know that they have like a tourist, because it's in Braxton County. It's also known as the Braxton County Monster, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they even have a museum there now too. It's in Sutton, West Virginia, and they actually just opened a Bigfoot museum right down the street, a West Virginia Bigfoot museum. So, if you guys do, you ever get a chance to go down there to the Flatwoods Museum, it's worth the trip.
Yeah, that's one. If we get up there, I'll definitely look you guys up, because I'd love to have you guys there, especially as tour guides.
I don't know exactly where the incident took place, but I believe that the curator of the museum, he knows exactly where it took place at.
And then got here. So like I said, we're talking. So this instance happened. You've got, like we just said, Braxton County, 7:15 p.m. on September 12th, 1952. Two brothers, Edward and Fred May, and their friend Tommy, said that they saw a bright object cross the sky and land on a property of a local farmer. And kind of from there, I'll let you kind of take it and just kind of go kind of step by step and let people, we'll go through and then we'll just kind of go back and forth on the stuff that was discovered about this monster.
Yeah, basically, when the two brothers, they actually they went to go tell their sister, Kathleen May. So after they told her what happened, they saw this bright object. Kathleen and three boys and another gentleman, they decided to go to the area. So they went to the area where this craft had landed, and they went up to the hill, and they saw this, basically a pulsing red light. And one of the gentlemen had a flashlight. So as he was using his flashlight, he caught what looked like basically kind of like a large man-like figure. Would look like it had like almost like two claws in front of it, and it had it almost looked like a hood with a diamond-shaped head, almost like Jason is what they actually said in the is what they said in the initial report. And there, excuse me, there you just brought it up now, and that's basically what they claimed that they saw. Now, other investigators went there, and their explanation of it was that basically they saw a meteor, which there was a meteor that night over Flatwoods, and as they saw the meteor, there was a big owl in a tree. And they claimed they saw that after they saw the meteor, they saw this owl in the tree, because they said about the claws. One guy said about the claws. They think that they were in their heightened state. They were kind of, they were nervous. They went up there, and now there's the actual drawing right there that they did. And it kind of looks, you can see like almost looks like the hood, and it was a red face. And one of the strangest kind of creatures out there, actually. And it apparently was seen one other time. There was a researcher named Frank Ficino, and he did some further work on it, and he claims that the same creature was seen close to Flatwoods a little later on in the evening, but that the upper part of it was more like a reptilian type creature, not what you saw there. Now, I believe the name of his book is Shoot 'Em Down, I think. If you look it up, it's Frank Ficino. I haven't talked or read anything from Frank for years, but it's definitely a good companion piece to that. Now, I do know he was even stating during that night and several nights after, there was a lot of UFO activity over West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. And there was one or two instances where jets were scrambled to go after these UFOs. And of course, they didn't catch them, or apparently they didn't shoot any down.
Wow, that's crazy. And they said he was like approximately 10 foot tall. I mean, I don't know how you could misconstrue that. If the average, they were however tall they were, but 10 foot, that seems like a really big monster.
Yeah, that's what they claimed. They claimed it was about 10 feet tall. That'd be a heck of a big owl, right? I mean, uh,
It looks like a person in a costume wearing just kind of like a big ass like yeah, that's all it really looks like. It's kind of creepy.
But apparently there was two officers went out there that night because they apparently were looking for a crashed plane, and they were up there and they said they didn't hear anything or smell anything or see anything. Because part of that too, also when they saw this creature, they ran down the hill, and they claimed that there was like a stench, a bad stench about it, and several of them were nauseated. But investigators said, well, that was because of their heightened state of, they went up there, hey, expecting to see who knows what, and maybe you see something in the tree and it looks bigger. And I'm not saying that excuse me, I'm not saying that conclusion was right or wrong. It's just what they were trying to say may have happened.
Yeah, it looks like, let's say, like a misty, musty odor. Like my heart rate's been up, and I've never smelled a misty, musty odor. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's again, a lot of these older cases, sometimes with some research, you can prove they were hoaxes. We have a case here. It's called the James Lucci photograph. We live in Hopewell, Beaver County, and this happened over in Beaver County, and there was a picture sent to the Times that looked like a saucer with kind of like a plume coming from it. Well, years later, this James Lucci confessed he held a pie plate up to some light, and it kind of did look like a saucer, and people got word of it, and then the government got involved, and these kids were scared. They're like, wow, the government's coming, so we're going to say it's a UFO. And there were some studies done at the time, and they said, hey, these pictures kind of look legit. But later on, when the kid actually confessed, he confessed to how he did it. It was actually in an older MUFON journal. So There it is. There it is right there. And so again, some of these cases do sound really good, but then with further scrutiny, we have better equipment to detail photos and everything now too. And that was one of them, was actually proven to be a hoax.
And I've talked to that on a few shows and stuff, where I feel like that's something we need to have more of, actually, is just have this ability as a group, as a community, to go through and just take the ones that we can clearly tell, these are not legit things, and quit propping these things up, because it just makes everything else look the same way. I mean, every time you come up with, I saw something in the sky. Yeah, sure you did, because you believe the pie plate thing.
Mm-hmm. Now the government on June 25th is supposed to come out with a report. I know you guys have probably seen a lot on the news coming up about they're gonna talk about what these tic tac shaped objects that they're seeing. They're going with incredible speeds. They're coming out of the water at incredible speeds, going into the water at incredible speeds. They're acknowledging them that they're there, but not acknowledging that they're from outer space. But I think maybe in this instance, it may be kind of like a soft disclosure, at least to kind of start to put that in people's minds that, hey, we haven't been quite telling you the full truth of some of the things that may be out there. Now, again, anybody who's ever researched UFOs, there's only a really small number of cases that are actually worth investigating. Most of them are misidentification of aircraft or strange atmospheric phenomena. And most of them, probably are government experimental craft.
Yeah, M.A. Allen right there is just, over the last year, we've learned that there's, Russia, Iran, and China have technology to launch ballistic missiles at us and to avoid our shoot down, and I think there's a lot of reconnaissance craft, just like that, these things that are being seen, we don't know what they are, but and so they do fall into the classification of a UFO.
Yeah.
Because that's when you see it, you're like, I can't identify it. It's unidentified, but it doesn't mean we're saying this is an alien from outer space that's floating around. It's just like, I saw something fly over. I don't know what it was. It was triangle. I don't know what it is. Most likely, it's probably Project Solar Warden. The triangle craft that a lot of people are seeing.
And we actually saw those triangle craft in 2007. My wife and I. We saw
really?
it over Beaver County. It was on Trick or Treat night. And from where we saw, they were across the river, and we saw them kind of do what I say, like 2 figure eights, like they were, I don't know, like going like an aerial show. Okay, and then they came right over top of our heads, and they were silent, guys. Were they, looking back at it, probably some kind of art, a government thing. But they were silent, and if it is a government thing, I'm glad our government would have them and not somebody else, because they could have floated over you, and if they wanted to do you harm, and if you're not looking up, boom. And we live by the Pittsburgh airport. We know what planes are. We see them all the time. We're only like 12 or 13 miles from the Pittsburgh airport where we live here. So,
were you able to get any kind of picture, or you just
no?
We were. It
was Halloween night, and our son was Halloweening, and we were just standing in front of my wife's parents' yard, and it's just like what happened, and even the kids in the street were like looking up at it, and we didn't have any cameras per se, like so we're just gonna watch it. We did draw it. I have a drawing of it here somewhere, but
yeah, I mean, if you ever get a chance, like share it, that'd be really cool to see.
Okay.
Now, when you were watching that, just like we'll kind of probing that, was it silent for you guys? I mean, because I know a lot of reports are there's no sound. I mean, you could see the lights. It's just, it's just hovering there.
And these are moving very slow pace too, slower than a jet would move. But there was no sound. That's the first thing I'm like, okay, these are jets or some, I don't know, maybe some kind of a thing for Halloween or something, and nothing. And again, it caught the attention, like, because we were looking and we were pointing at it, and it was just. We know a gentleman who was on the Aliquippa Council, and he said that night they got over 200 calls from their the call center that, hey, these things are floating in the sky. What are they? So we have a lot of backup validation for that. People did see it. Now, again, my guess is probably some kind of a government craft. But again, I mean, we just know for sure that we saw them and they were silent.
Wow, that's crazy.
They were pretty big too. They were pretty big.
Yeah, because I know there's been people that have claimed, like it's a drone or something like that, but there's no sound. That's the thing. They're super silent, and they're not these tiny things. I mean, they're large.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was in 97 too. So
you would think they would at least say, to debunk the UFO or the alien theory, you would think that they would say, okay, we're testing an object, guys. Military, don't be alarmed. And I mean, if you tell the average citizen that, they're not going to probe anymore. But with all the objects flying around that no one knows what they are, I'm sure the government knows. Everybody has got their own theories and all about it. Instead of having people wondering, why not just say, hey, we're testing an object, guys. It's the U.S. government. And majority of the people are just going to say, okay, it's the government flying something. We'll stay out of it. But when you give people questions and they create their own theories and their own, oh, that's a UFO, I don't know what it is, it's an alien or something. I mean, I would think it'd be a lot easier for them just to tell us. Well,
yeah, I think what they're trying to do, if indeed we are being visited by extraterrestrials, which I do think that, then to maybe make it easier for people to accept. Now, they go a lot on, the old War of the Worlds. Remember that? The old War of the Worlds podcast, where people were freaking out and they were thinking that Martians were really attacking. And but they weren't. Today's a lot different times. We have our cell phone cameras. We know a lot more. You can see a lot more quicker. Some people say that they're doing this. Maybe they're going to stage a false flag event. I mean, I don't know. I think other governments have kind of come out and said, hey, there is something to this. We don't know what exactly it is. could it be extraterrestrial? Yeah, it could be extraterrestrial. And I think it's more ingrained in us now than it was when that podcast came, or not the podcast, the radio show. Sorry, they didn't have podcasts then. That radio show.
Yeah, that caused a panic, that thing.
Yes.
But that was a fantastic show for anybody that's never listened to it. It's like you can see basically, in those days how that could cause people to just absolutely go into a panic.
Yeah, because there was people shooting at water towers, and they thought they were alien craft. And there's a really good movie. I saw it a long time ago, and I have to see it. It's called The Night That Panicked America. And if you guys get a chance to see it, I'm going to try to see if I can get it. I just remember seeing it and how the hysteria that some people did believe. And they did say at the beginning, this is a show, but they didn't say it enough. And people coming in a couple minutes after, oh my God, they're here, and not seeing or hearing that, going down to their basements, grabbing their rifles. Now, not everybody did this, obviously. Some of the people were more out in the backwoods. Word traveled fast back then too, and all of a sudden, boom, people were, some people were going crazy and things like that. But
well, Gertie was immediately on the phone, and everybody knew in the neighborhood. Yeah, she had, the gossip lines were going crazy, at that point. Now it's kind of going with alien stuff. Do you have, do you have just myself? I mean, it seems like this one, I leaned a little bit more on the UFO side with this monster over a hoax.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't think it was a hoax either. Again, I don't know what they saw, but apparently if it, this craft or whatever did come down, apparently this thing did come out of it. And so, yeah, I would lead more to maybe this, you put 2 and 2 together, you get 4 on this one. Again, it was only like the one instance, but maybe Frank Ficino talked about another instance with this creature. So, it could be just this one time. Maybe it was some kind of an extraterrestrial, and it just landed in one space and maybe went to another space, and then it was gone. Now, if you look in the history and the lore of kind of like aliens, you'll see there's certain 1 or 2 type aliens are only seen once. Like one is in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker were fishing along the river, and this craft came down, and these creatures came out, and you could probably find what they look like. They kind of had like a horn up on their head, and like 2 out of their ears, like where the ears would be. It would be the Pascagoula incident, I think is what they call it. And that was one that was just like a one-off type thing. Hey, they saw it one time and boom. Not your typical grays, which are seen numerous times in these instances.
Yeah, I'm trying. That was just the 2 guys that saw him, right?
Yes. Or you could maybe put in Calvin Parker and Charles Hickson. That
yeah,
might
got the image right here for people to see here. So that's a one, and that just took me a second to make sure I got.
Yep, there it is.
Wow, that was crazy.
And that was in 1973. So
yeah, in 1973 here in Pennsylvania, there was a huge UFO Bigfoot wave. Okay, now we actually ourselves, we live in Hopewell, which is in Beaver County. During 1973, we had a couple really strange incidences here. One was these 2 girls were waiting at night to get picked up, and in the woods across from them, they see this giant white Bigfoot basically walking. It had a luminous spear in its hand. Okay, so they ran in, got their father. The father came out. He went into the woods looking for it, and he didn't come back for an hour. And they said when he came back, his whole attitude changed. They said he was talking about like prophecies of the world ending, and he said, "Don't go in those woods." And another person saw, about the time he was in the woods for an hour, they saw a craft over the same patch of woods, and there was a light beam that shined down, and then the UFO left. So again, all through Pennsylvania, southwestern Pennsylvania, there were sightings of UFOs, and then a Bigfoot right after that. I believe there's about like 100 118 or 113. A gentleman named Stan Gordon, who's still researching in PA today. He researched most of those cases.
Oh wow, that's they. I was looking at here too because, like when we were talking about the same thing with Eugene Lemon, when he went to go look at this figure. I mean, for him to have aimed a flashlight and to have that creature turn around with those red eyes looking at him, and even him being National Guardsman, so obviously military, so he shouldn't spook that easy.
Yeah.
No, I'm gone.
Yeah, I don't think an owl would have spooked him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, you'd think that somebody, okay, you're going to have something that's going to scare you. I mean, anybody that's walked out at night has had a bird come flapping by or an animal go running in front of you. It's you jump, but you're not going to come back with this tail that a 10-foot tall creature, attacked me. Unless, of course, I just ran from a squirrel, and I want to make sure Chris and Austin didn't mock me for eternity. I'm gonna talk about this giant creature that haunted me, and chased me down. But for him to go and investigate this thing and say, I saw this almost 10-foot tall creature. It was green with reddish eyes. This ace of spades like hood around it, and it turned around with these claw-like hands. These are high details for somebody who is being made was afraid of an owl.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And one of the interesting things too, there's actually a movie coming out. It's called Flatwoods, and it's coming out September 11th in Flatwoods, West Virginia, and it's not a documentary. It's kind of like a movie with Flatwoods in it, and it's kind of the story of this woman looking for what happened to Flatwoods, and the Men in Black are after her. And that was pretty cool because I actually got the film for it, and that'll be pretty cool. We actually, when they filmed me and Fred Toulouse also, we actually talked about real life cases, and they incorporated that into this movie. So that ought to be pretty fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
It would be at the Elk Theater, I think, is what it is.
And I know it was like one of the claim to discover skid marks and an odd gummy deposit.
Yeah.
Which is, I think that's, were they attributing that to the actual UFO landing, or is that something that they're attributing to the monster? Because I know there's I can look up the images. I know there's one where they think that maybe a kid was the hoaxer for this.
Yeah, there's not really like a lot on that though. I mean, well, you're probably trying to find it right now, right?
No, you're good. No, yeah, keep going. It was one of those. It's something I can find.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things I don't really recall if it was for the UFO or the actual monster. I thought it was closer to where the monster was seen. I could be wrong on that though.
Yeah, I've got that image right. It was really weird the way that they attributed, that they had this whole elaborate thing of this kid was in this suit and he was going around. Let me see here. I got that image here and I'll bring it up here. There we go, right here. So for everybody to see here, so you can see, we'll get that comment in real quick here so everybody can see. Here's that picture.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't buy it. It just does. It didn't. How did they know that? The May brothers went to Kathleen, man. They went up there really. So how they? What? It didn't make sense. Even the timetable. How someone could have went up there and all of a sudden makes his suit. Yeah, it doesn't ring true to me. I mean, again, do I know it for 100%? No.
Find out what's going on. It's not sure of my end. So yeah, that's
trying to kick us off.
Yeah, are you guys a believer that it would have been that kid being a hoax?
It's impressive if it is. Well, it's the same thing we talked about with, I think it was Max Hawthorne, right? With the penguin in Tampa Bay. I mean, if you're good enough, you're gonna believe anything.
That was about the giant footprints in the sand, right? Yeah. It was.
If you do a good enough job, anything's believable.
Yeah, at the time though, the gentleman that researched that, and his name skips my memory right now. They believed that it was something until it was later determined that it was a hoax. Was a gentleman with huge footprints of a penguin.
Yeah, and that's kind of what that's kind of what they were just talking, like with the boards, that maybe this is somebody that had it. But one of those things, it's amazing that nobody's discovered that or talked about it since. Because you think by now somebody would have been like, "Oh yeah, I remember that monster. Yeah, it was me."
And that's just like the Patterson film, the 1967 Bluff Creek Patterson film. All these guys claim, "Hey, I was the guy in the suit." It's like, well, what happened to the suit? What happened to this so-called suit, and why would they make it a female? I mean, it's just things. Just because I've met Bob Gimlin a couple times, and I believe that what they saw was an actual Bigfoot. Again, let's say that it is proven to be a hoax. To me, it doesn't change anything, because I still think somehow these creatures are out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. There's an image somebody gave it to, and I wish I could find it. It's just, but when people even see like Hollywood costumes, the stuff that they were using on TV and movies wasn't even close to the quality that supposedly these two guys took with them out backpacking and put on.
Not at all.
I mean, we can't even get modern, like even some of the new television shows, to get stuff to where it actually resembles the same way. But yet this was these two guys were able to pull this off, and I'm a big believer in it. I mean, that was about 3 hours away from where I lived up there in Oregon, where they filmed this.
But I brought this up on another show. I mean, with all the private drones, I mean, they have gimbal DJI cameras on them. There's hundreds of miles of forest. If you stay in a rural area, it's nothing for you to fly your drone and be able to get crystal clear footage of the ground. I mean, Bigfoots, these aliens, if they exist, all these other cryptic creatures, there's no way they could hear the actual drone flying over. I mean, and there's lots of forest. You would think they would have some better footage of something at least, I mean.
Well, here's where I go on some of that footage. Okay, I've seen what happens when people put their game cam footage up. They are immediately attacked like a bunch of piranha. They will attack you. They will discredit you. And if let's say that my neighbor has a crystal clear footage, game cam footage of a Bigfoot. And he says, you know what, before I put this out, I want to go on some of these forums. I want to see what happens when people put these photos up. And if you spend a couple hours and you're going to think, there's no way I want to come and be ridiculed and attacked, saying it's hoax, it's a man in a suit. The Bigfooting field is a very unforgiving field. People on the outside think that all the Bigfoot researchers are this one big together thing, and no, when you put something out, you're immediately attacked. It's really not worth it. Now, again, as far as maybe I'm being naive, I think there is some good footage sitting out there that people just do not want to have put out, or there are some people that are doing these documentary films and things like that, and I think they're holding back until maybe they can get more evidence and then maybe produce a documentary, or maybe they'll want to make money out of it. It's not as simple as just saying, hey, I think there should be more footage, which there should. I mean, I'll agree with you 100%. There should be more. I want to see more. I want to see more footprints. It's hard to find a footprint here in Pennsylvania with our leaf clutter. And, when you step on it, comes back up. And they say if these creatures are as intelligent as what most people say they are, they watch where they leave prints. Okay. Again, do I know for sure? No, I don't think any of the researchers know everything about this creature, and I think there's a missing piece of this puzzle. Okay, I really do. I don't know if that's like an interdimensional type thing, or maybe they possess certain qualities that we can't understand. But again, I think there is a missing piece of the Bigfoot puzzle. I wish I could tell you what it is.
I mean, I believe the same thing. I believe the same thing too. You know, people come up with all these new Facebook groups and all these new forums, and they say that, oh, ridicule.
Not sure what happened to him.
See, they took him down because he's ridiculing them.
Yep. We got rid of him. Austin, you're muted.
I thought my screen was frozen. I was like, what happened?
I know. It's like he was just talking. All of a sudden, he disappeared. Oh, I was going to say before when I was going to let him finish there, but one of the things I've always wondered, especially with modern technology, and maybe you might help with this part, infrared technology. Why is this not being used more? Because it feels like that would be something where we'd be able to fly out there, drones, and pick up these heat signatures and actually be able to identify there is something out there that's not, that's not a bear. That's not a wolf.
Well, there was they did some infrared studies, deer studies here in Pennsylvania. I think it was called Visionary Quest. This must have been about 10 years ago. And I contacted I think her name was Susan Bernatus, I believe. I says, hey, I'm a researcher. I have to ask, when you were doing your flybys and stuff at night looking for deer herds, did you see any strain signatures that could have looked like, I says, I researched Bigfoot that could have looked like something like a big gorilla. Did you get any big signatures? And she says, no, we didn't. But we do, they look. You would think that, something would either come up or somebody would come forward with, hey, I've got this, I've got that. Or again, are these people just holding on to it for now until the time comes when they can present, more evidence to maybe make you think? So this is the conundrum of the Bigfoot field. Most of the people that I, research with or other groups, they believe that somehow this creature exists. Okay, whether it be something like a lost North American primate or a Gigantopithecus or even the missing link or whatever you believe. It's just they all, deep down, it's like, man, you want more evidence of it. The eyewitness sightings are one thing because we have them, and every other researcher out there has talked to people that have seen them. As bad as some people say, well, eyewitness testimony is flawed. It's not what you think. Eyewitness testimony is what found the mountain gorilla, the Komodo dragon, the platypus. These creatures back then were being seen. These animals we know now were being seen, and they were called cryptids. The kraken, the giant octopus. I mean, could Bigfoot be the next big one? I mean, boy, it would if they were really to find one and come out with it, it's going to change a lot of things. It would change the logging industry. It would change how people view state parks. Some people aren't going to want to take little Jimmy and Tammy out in the woods if there's a giant gorilla, walking around. I mean, think about it. I mean, if you really think about it.
Oh, yeah. No, that's one of the things you wonder. It's like, is it being kept because of that? They're worried about a panic. They're worried about, what's always been termed the Bubba effect. You have a massive effect. All of a sudden, everybody's get the gun. We're going hunting, and we're gonna go take it.
And I used to work at a local Gander Mountain, and it was a sporting goods store, and I was talking about Bigfoot to an archer, and he said, if I see one, I'm going to stick him. This was his exact words. I said, okay, then I hope you get out of the woods alive. And then he looked at me. What do you mean? I said, well, they say that they live in family groups. I said, if you stick one and you kill one, you might not get out of there alive. And he had a horrified look on his face, and he kind of walked away. I mean, I am the no-kill with Bigfoot. You probably the best case scenario would maybe finding a dead specimen. I wouldn't want to kill one. I don't want to see them killed.
Oh no.
And 90% of the researchers I know, they're all no kill. And I do want to state that to anybody listening. The Bigfoot, as a community, they do not want this creature hurt. Sure, you still probably got about 5% that want to kill one to bring it to the scientists and the public, so then it could be protected. But most of the researchers do not want this creature harmed. And I think, a lot of people might have a bad impression of some of the people in the field because of a small select few. I really do think that.
Well, that's the thing. You have a lot of people that, where their first instinct is to attack and do something like that. It's one thing if you've been, if you're being attacked, you're defending yourself, but it's a completely different thing when you're out there on the offense. It's just, I don't understand that, because the whole point of doing the research, whether it's Flatwoods Monster, UFOs, is to gather information about what's going on. I mean, why people are like, pull a trigger, I'm going to shoot at it. It's like that, that's one way to make sure that something is hostile.
Yeah.
So
there was a town that posted a reward if one was found. I can't remember what city that was.
Yeah, that was just recently, and I forget there was a state down south. Or maybe it was
Oklahoma.
I think the bounty, so-called, is now like I think up to 3 million.
Yeah, what I was saying before I completely got kicked out of everything, people start these Facebook groups and, they say no bashing and stuff, but I guess it gets too much for them to keep up with. You post something, oh, that's a hoax, this. Why are you even in these groups just to troll? I mean, there are so many groups that people really want to post their footage. I mean, some of it may be fake, some of it may be actual true, but people just get in these groups to troll. Oh, no, that's the neighbor's dog at night. No, I mean, if you're in the group, find something better to do with your time versus trolling people who really see something.
Hallelujah and amen to that. I'm in a couple here in PA. I don't really do a lot in them. I'll look and I'll just see, kind of see what's going on. But no, the person you have, we just call them trolls, obviously. I guess they have nothing better to do with their time than going on someone's site, someone's Bigfoot page who's dedicating themselves to being a researcher, to putting this group up, and to have people bash people that come on, or if you say something, it's horrible. Why? What kind of a human being are you if your only purpose in life is to bash everybody? I mean, think about that. It's kind of a sad existence, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I said. Is you don't want to bash somebody, but we've got to eliminate this blind acceptance of pareidoia.
Yeah.
And that's because it doesn't help it doesn't further actual research when, because somebody will put up the picture and you have those usual ones that claim they've got an entire family of Bigfoot in their backyard, and they're only the ones that can see this, because if I let anybody know, they hide and they never show up unless it's for me. And I'm looking at it, the only thing that happens here is, don't call them crazy, don't do anything like that. It's just people have to say, it's like, look, in order for this to be legit, you have to show some proof here, or else, there's nothing we can do, because this isn't going to help anybody, because people are just going to think we're all crazy for saying, hey, good job, because there's nothing there in the photo. It's just a bush.
Yep. There's a person her name is Mona. She just put something up. She claims she saw a white Bigfoot. And I would love to talk to her, for her to get in touch with me. We have a white creature here in Beaver County, over in Columbiana County, which borders us in Ohio, and in and in Hancock County, which is down to our south. And there's been over the years now, since '73, there's been about 11 reports of a white Bigfoot. We nickname him Whitey. That's a kind of the nickname here. But get a Bigfoot and he's white. Very rare, but the amount of sightings in a three county area may be one of the most dense in the country, to be sure.
Yeah, like what Mona was just saying right there. So I don't know what else to call it. Well, exactly. I mean, you go based off of what you kind of know. You don't just. I mean, there's a good chance. I mean, everything else in nature, there's the albino variant. There's always.
Where did Mona see this? Can I ask Mona where you saw this at?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just.
Missouri. Okay. I'd still like to talk to her. She can message me.
I'm not sure if it's Missouri, but this is what she was talking about.
So
the reward.
Mona, if you want to reach out, he's right here on he's on Facebook. Brian Seech, just reach out to him, get him the information so he can get with you and get some more information. Try to get more details on that one because that's absolutely it. I mean, when you see something like that, these are the things. Investigate it, but it's and that's not what I was referring to. I'm referring more to the ones where you have the one person that sends posts every day blurry images of a tree line talking about here is, as you can see here's the family of Bigfoot looking at me waving hello.
Yeah.
Type that you're like, there's nothing there. And I'm like, we've got to get actual photographs out here or else people are going to think everybody is that person.
No, I mean, I wasn't talking about it in your case, Craig. You see a tree. We all clearly see a tree. Those should be the ones that's debunked in the group. But if you clearly see a blurry image of something that looks like a Bigfoot, I mean, there is a benefit of doubt that we can give that person. But in your case,
that's
tree,
exactly it.
I take a picture of my front yard with a tree, and I'm like, you see the Bigfoot family? I need somebody to tell me, no, you're crazy. You need to go see a psychiatrist there, buddy. There's no Bigfoot there.
You could see her Mona's thing. You could either message Brian Seech, Seech on Facebook, or go to Center for Cryptozoological Studies and message us there. I would like to talk to you. Have a phone interview too, and have you answer some questions. When we get time, there's no rush on it.
Yeah, I'll get. I'll message her right now and just let her let her know that too, and get her in touch with you.
And all names are always confidential. We may talk about the sightings, but we don't give like an exact location, like on a road or anything, or do we ever use names?
Well, and that's it's kind of like Carrie was saying. What if they really believe this one? And that's the thing is, I think it's one of those. It's like if you actually see something and you're having trouble, that's one thing. I go, it's the ones like because the ones I have, I seriously question whether it's real or not. Are the ones that claim they're the only ones that can see these things, and they're the only ones that they'll only come to me. And anytime anybody else tries to come here, they run away and they hide. I'm like, there should be some other evidence you could be bringing. You should be able to bring casts. You should be able to bring a lot of other physical evidence to prove this back. But a lot of them, it's just a photograph. And I said, but a lot of us, like when we're searching, like when we're out there, a lot of us hear the sounds. A lot of us you hear the different things out there that you can't explain that. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones where if you have a family of Bigfoot living in your backyard that you see every day, you should have hair, footprints. You should have something that you could easily, there should be evidence for days that you can provide. I mean, you should be able to tell me, like, you should even be able to tell me eating habits. Like we put these things. This is what they like to forage. I mean, you should know a lot of these details, and that's one of those ones where this is where this part of the evidence I think is so key. But yet, a lot of these reports you don't have that. I don't know why that's not included with it. I mean, as they said, photographs are great, but what about all the other physical evidence that should be there for that location?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and that's so that hopefully that was an answer for me. Like where it's like, because I believe a lot of these people have seen something. It's just one of these things. It's just the physical evidence is what any of the skeptics, non-believers, a lot of that. If you can start getting that evidence along with your photos, it's a game changer. I mean, people start. You'll have Brian's attention.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's. You'll have mine too, because like I said, I always want to see these pictures. Like I said, I try. I mean, I won't lie. I try to, when somebody sends it here and say, look, I got this one. I look for a thing. I look at it all the time. I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to.
And you want to. And I'm like, yeah, you try. You're like, man, maybe. And then I'm like, I can't say that it's there.
Yep. I've got the thing right over here. I want to believe.
Yeah, we're big X-Files fans, believe me.
Yeah, I've got it right there. I want to believe. I want to see it, but it's just, unfortunately, I have so much of, Ron, hey, I think tuning in. How are you? We have, and it's that one of those things, but just being, the logic, the scientific side thing, faith isn't enough for me. It gets me in the ballpark. Okay, let's see it. And then when the thing is, I've got to see something to base it up. I can't just, it's like with reports. I mean,
yeah, that's why I'm personally in it. My wife and I and some of our members. I want to get a visual encounter so I can prove to myself as a little kid when I used to watch all these documentaries that it is real. I kind of haven't wasted my time. I do think it's real. I really, and I've told people this, and they kind of laugh. I said, I think if I see it, I can walk away from Bigfoot research, not all the other research we do, because we do a lot of research in a lot of other areas, but I could satisfy myself by visual sighting, and that's why I'm in it. And hopefully someday I get that validation for myself, because unless you accidentally hit one on the way home from work or something, you could throw them on top of your car like Harry and the Hendersons, you're not going to prove that to anybody.
Yeah, I don't. In deep down, doesn't everybody want the Harry and the Hendersons, thing to actually occur? All of a sudden, Harry's just hanging out with you all day long.
That would be kind of cool.
But the same thing. There should be physical evidence. If you have a Harry and the Hendersons thing, please collect some of that hair and send it in, because that would help all of us immensely, because we could do a nice little thing called DNA research on it. Yeah, that's other than, like, for me. And then when you get some of the events like what we were talking about, Flatwoods Monster, I think one of the ones for me too was the Van Meter monster as well.
Yes.
When we had that one, the part that really got for me was when you had all of everything from the town. It wasn't just the town drunk or a couple of kids. You had all members from across the board in society that saw this thing, and made a report. And that's where, like with this Flatwoods monster, you've got these kids, you've got a mom, you've got this National Guardsman, you have all this array of people that have claimed to have seen this. So it's, like I said, I have a hard time taking it was an owl as a disclaimer. It's like, there must be something here. And it's one of those things, as you see these things, we've got to go in, do the actual investigation, do the research, and figure out then what isn't and what is. And that's what's, to me, I want to see more of that focus.
Yeah, we here in our area, 2 counties up from us, and it's called Butler County. We have this winged entity that was seen in 2011 and 2012. They dubbed it the Chicora gargoyle. It was in Chicora, Butler County, and it looked. If you there are some drawings out there. If you would, you would type it in, it would come up. Chicora, Chicora, Chicora gargoyle. It comes up, and these people were seeing it along a stretch of road, and they claimed it was about like 8 to 9 foot tall, gray. His head was almost like a helmeted aerodynamic bicycle head. And a couple people, the one case that we went up to is this creature was by a sign. We measured the sign, and the sign was about 8 foot tall. It was up to the sign, and it crossed the road in 3 steps. We measured from berm to berm. That road was 33 feet. It took 3 steps, so it had 11-foot stride. And this one biker guy who thought he was scared, he wouldn't even drive this road anymore. We work with a guy named Dan Hegman up in Butler from the Butler Organization for Research Unexplained, and when he talked to the guy, he said, this guy says this thing looks like it's from hell, and he wishes it would go back. Now, as far as I know, there hasn't been any recent sightings of it, but I have one of the eyewitnesses' original drawings, and another from 1993, and this was in Allentown. And guys, it's the same creature. It's the same creature from 1993 to 2011. I mean, if you see that, like when I first remember where I saw this drawing, I pulled it up and I looked at both of them, and I'm like, the one's just flipped over the other side. Like, it's the same thing from 93 to 2011.
You can't make that stuff up if it's the same exact same drawing. That's crazy.
Almost, yeah. You look at it and you're like, wow. When I first saw it, I had like goosebumps up and down my arm. I'm like, wow, you know.
And that's one of those things too. It's when you see it, if you can start getting evidence that overlaps like that, that's crucial.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, and that's one of those. I can't find it. I've been trying to find the pictures. I can't find it. It's just bringing up other gargoyles. It's not.
Or Butler gargoyle. Maybe type in Butler gargoyle. Butler.
Yeah, I'll try that one. See, because as we're doing, I think maybe this is it. We'll see if I. Oh, it's a wonderful picture for ants. So here we go. So this is a fantastic. All right, everybody, get your binoculars out so you can see this photo and look at it.
I love Google.
Yep.
So I found it, but so you're just going to have to believe me because it's this tiny little speck on the screen.
Mm-hmm. and the other picture from Allentown, it's facing like the same direction, but it almost looks like it's flipped. And the one interesting thing about some of these winged entities is the legs. The legs are always bent backward, almost like a chicken. The one in Allentown, they watched it cross the road, and they said, did it walk like a chicken? The legs were kind of bent backwards, and it walked from one side of the road to the other. And then they says its wings, extended from its body, and they said it shot straight up. And they said it did not move its arms. The wings extended, and it shot straight up in the air.
It's weird.
It is weird. Yeah, if you're driving down the road at night, yeah, you see this. You remember the old movie in the 70s, The Gargoyles? You remember that? Yeah.
I was abducted there for a second. I'm sorry. I'm talking, all of a sudden my screen just froze, and I'm like going, oh, I'm gonna miss the good part. Dang it. Yeah, no, I'm back. Yeah, that was, so you might have to fill me. I'm gonna have to watch the archive now so I can catch it and figure out what I missed. So
I still think it holds. It holds pretty good even for today. It's kind of has this when the creatures are walking, it's kind of like a slow stop action, kind of like the $6 Million Man. You go, his movements were real slow and stuff, but it's really cool. You're gonna like it.
Well, that is like you just said that. What about $1 Million Man versus the Bionic Bigfoot?
Yeah, I love that. My favorite one.
And that's a prime example of. I can search that up and show the picture. Actually, while we're doing it, that is one of the prime examples of when we talked about the Patterson thing. It's that was Hollywood's version of a Bigfoot, and so you mean to tell me that that you can't, that they can't come up with the same thing that two rancher guys, out on horseback were able to come up with? Oh, it's another picture for ants. Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Google.
But everybody, like I said, get your glasses out again.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yep. I'll see if I can find, so everybody can see. I still remember,
like as a kid, seeing that when he first saw him, and then they start fighting. I was like, and then he ripped the Bigfoot's arm off. Yeah, it was like part robotic, and he ripped the Bigfoot's arm off.
That's So here's the thing. It's like, so this is the best that Hollywood can come up with for a Bigfoot suit. You mean to tell me that, two guys out in the backwoods of Northern California, Southern Oregon are able to do better?
Not likely.
Yeah. And so that's always kind of led me to a lot more belief that they caught the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's me just hoping that we actually we actually physically caught those ones. But yeah. All right. So are we a believer in the Flatwoods monster? I'm on the fence of it was definitely something. I'm not going for a hoax just because there's too many, the kids, could probably be a little easier to fool, but when I start getting in the mom, and then the West Virginia National Guardsman seeing something, I have a hard time believing that he wouldn't notice that it was a kid with, in some makeshift Halloween costume.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it was a hoax either. I don't know what they saw exactly. Maybe if it was an extraterrestrial, but I don't think it was hoax.
I mean, yeah. So that's, and that's one of those. So yeah, I'm kind of in the way. I don't believe it's a hoax. They say I'm not sure exactly what they saw, but it's definitely. I'm going to look to the thing, and that's one of those things. M.A. Allen was like, more evidence is required, and that was one. It was real quick. Joe Nickel of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry in 2000. So 48 years later, showing up. So concludes that the bright light, was most likely a meteor.
Yeah.
I'm like, one, I'd like to see how they figured out, that 48 years later, that it was a meteor, and that most likely, the images are closely resembling like barn owl. So I know they said that red aircraft beacons were also visible from the area of the sightings, but I don't remember in the description. I don't remember them, the eyes pulsating or flashing like a airport beacon would do.
Yeah, they didn't say that. Yeah.
So and even the barn owl, even if you went with the barn owl thing, it's just the fact is you have the face. Well, the barn owl, that's pretty much their whole face. They don't have this gigantic hood around their face. Yeah. So I'm when the lead, I agree. They definitely would have to do more research, but when you have these one-off sightings, like you said, like the Pascagoula, Mississippi, when you have these things, how do you gather more instance when this may have been a one-off visitation from whatever it was? Landed. Hey, are these guys ready? Nope, they're not ready. Zzz, and they just flew away. It's just, it is. Yeah, so I don't know. I like it. I mean, it's definitely one of those. I could definitely see find a Flatwoods action figure ending up behind me. Yeah,
if you go down there, they have a really cool ceramic lantern. You guys got to get one of those.
Oh,
a Flatwood ceramic lantern. Yeah, I got one.
I'm gonna have to look that up. You
can put a light in the bottom of it. It's really cool.
Yeah, because that would be some of these things. Some people have really come up with some ingenious, things that they could do. And so I think, I'm sure. Is it solid red with a green kind of vest?
Yes.
Okay. So that's, I think I got an image here for people to see and look. Oh no, it's another one of those. All right. My favorite photos. All right,
get
everybody.
your magnifying glass out, everybody.
Yep. All right, here we go. Everybody again, see this little cute glowing thing?
Yeah, but that's it.
I said we'll go here to the.
There it is.
See if we get it. Yes, I could definitely see one of those being back there on the shelf. So we're gonna have to. We'll have to do something. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So there's that. All right. Well, Brian, I want to thank you for coming in, sir.
Oh, hey, thanks, guys. Thanks, Craig, Chris, and Austin. I appreciate you guys having me on, and I hope we had some fun tonight because I did. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll have to do it again because there's definitely.
Just let me know.
Yeah, there's definitely cryptids. I mean, like I promised somebody I was going to give him a nice little plug on his book too tonight's thing. We had him on before. He wrote a book called Cryptopedia.
Okay.
It was Francis and Lucas Rosa. Did this book, and that was one of the things. Yeah, it's the way it was done. It said it's really, which is kind of bad right here. But yeah, just all of them. They're just, every page is just a different.
That's cool.
Yeah, different cryptid. And so they went through there and just, as kids, they went through and collected all these stories. So everybody, that's definitely recommend that book, for these a lot of these one-off cryptids. That's pretty cool. So, but once again, check out Brian Seech. He is on Facebook. So Mona, reach out to him, get him that information, because that sounds really fascinating too. That, just, I mean, even if you can, I mean, just the possibility of that even an albino version of Bigfoot, if that's what it is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it's everything. If you can take it from this one, it's just, when you see stuff, write it down. It's like, you don't have to, there's going to be a lot of people that, will mock, but, there's also a lot of us out here that are actually believers. We want to get the information. Just try, I think, like most researchers, when you see something, document as much stuff as you can.
Dates, times, everything. Yeah. What it looked like, duration. Yeah. Sighting. Yeah. It's a lot you can, and the best thing to do is do it as soon as it happens, because over time, we all get older and we kind of forget things. Or I know me, like if I'm giving a presentation, sometimes I got to go back and reread it, and then it comes to me. So yeah, because I like to give people, when I can, direct times and dates, and that's really important.
Yeah, because that's critical, especially for trying to piece back, in something when we want to come back and do follow up. Is then if you have all that information, just time, like I said, time of day, light level, everything, you can recreate these things, and then you can go through and you can actually see. It's like, okay, this clearly, you're not going to have the sun in your eyes. You're not going to have something like here. You're going to be able to see what you said you saw. And so then, like I said, those are critical pieces for making anybody that's a skeptic, more on your side, that you actually did encounter something, and that'll be crucial. So I'm looking forward to, Mona, Brian, if you could let me know how that turns out, that would be fantastic.
Sure. Yeah. And
yeah, I love it.
I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate you guys having me on. And
we'll definitely do it. Yeah, we'll definitely do it again. So tell everybody hello, and appreciate you coming on the show.
Okay. Have a good night, guys.
Right. Yeah, you too.
Okay. Take care, man. Bye.
All right, everybody. This is brought to you by Nanny Cakes. Go to Nanny Cakes 407 on Facebook, 407-923-2898. Check her out. Mention the Three Beards, and she is going to take pity on you and give you a discount on your cake order here in Central Florida. Check us out on social medias. YouTube, please like, subscribe, follow, click that notification bell. We're trying to get those numbers up. That's going to really help. Patreon.com/Three Beards Podcast. Also redbubble.com. Three Beards Podcast is our merch store. So go there. You can find all different things that we signed up and put our logo on. So if you see something there, we would absolutely love for you to support us in that way. We're rebroadcast every Thursday night at 10 p.m. by Patriot Radio. Download the Zeno Radio app, courtesy of JJ Beard Co. Go to jjbeardco.com. Thank them for doing that. Everybody, appreciate you watching. Brian Seech, appreciate it. Everybody, we will see you on the next one. Good night.